All right. It says we're live on Restream, YouTube. See if YouTube's doing the same. 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
Sick. All right. Nice. Guys, welcome to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. I'll be replacing the voice inside your head for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening or viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. Today, I'm joined by fellow NFT Web3 podcast host, Craig. Well, Craig from the Crypto Corner. Craig be talking about lots of things with lots of people. So we're really excited to have him on. We're talking about NFTs, talk about life, talk about real estate, talk about what the future of NFTs could be for people who are not NFT, PFP, cartoon animal project founders. I think it'll be a different kind of conversation. So anyways, thanks for being here, dude.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Actually, my first question I want to ask, because I just saw you post it the other day and it caught my eye because I've been doing just a smidge of research on the Elrond blockchain. It's taken me a little bit to kind of get into it because I got tied up a little bit in the Solana blockchain. And so I was doing a little bit of research there. I bought the Bet3 NFT from Cody. And then I saw you had an Elrond Punk. Is that what it is, right?
It's an e-punk. And there's always this gut, especially when we're going through figuring out what our moves are. I mean, you're a lot focused on the art of NFTs. I'm more on the business side. I want to see how are they positioning themselves through community conversation, a little bit on roadmap, but more along engagement to see if they're heading towards attracting a traditional business, whether it's a product or a service, emerging with that NFT community. And I feel like ePunks, first off, it was the first, as I was made to be aware of, it was the first NFT project on the Elrond ecosystem to be minted. It was the first mintable NFT project, not the first one traded, the first one minted. So it really caught my interest. I love the whole punks play, but I really like what the community is doing. And I saw the volume starting to go. I mean, it wasn't just necessarily the native token of eGold that was going up from 0.15 for a very long time all the way to 4 eGold. But it was, and I think the floor is around 3.5 right now as we speak, but it was just how the community's moving. And then just the overall, the amount of volume that they were doing in the week was just absolutely incredible. I believe they were the #1 trending NFT community on the Elrond ecosystem.
Out of nowhere?
It seems to me, from my viewpoint, it seems out of nowhere. It was stagnant for a while, and I don't know. And I want to put my finger on the pulse of why that is. And I think that's what keeps one of the things that keeps me engaged is how did this blow up out of nowhere? I feel like there are these mini whales. And so if a whale comes from Ethereum onto Elrond, they can do a lot of damage with floor sweeping, a lot of damage. I don't know what that move was, but I think when you think about CryptoPunks, this is very reminiscent. It's very much the same feel, very much the same vibe. And so for me, I think that was maybe the igniting point. I don't know.
Yeah, when I was looking at that, I was looking at some of the projects I potentially be interested in. I definitely go off vibe. Like I look at the art first and I'm like, yeah, I could buy that. I'd be happy to have that in my wallet. Like that's definitely one of my things that I look for. And so I was looking at the punks. I like the punks, and I saw that it was the first ever minted one, which raises my interest just from a collector. I'm gonna be honest, I lean heavy into my collector's brain when I buy NFTs. Like I really go with my gut on some of these things. The Elrond punks definitely caught my eye. I just haven't done enough research on the Elrond blockchain, but I mean, I saw the pixelated version of the thing you bought, and I was like, man.
By the way, shout out to, it looks like Crypto Caviar. He just said it. New founder took over. He's right. I heard about that. But I would also ask this question, right? If a new founder took over, what was it? They probably redid the Discord, redid the Twitter, different look, different feel, different approach, probably redid the roadmap. So, shout out to him for that, because I was, okay, that is the preimpetus, but what is the magic that we can't talk about?
Right.
You have technical analysis and the marketing analysis for figuring out what projects. So that was cool. Good shout out to him on that. Good catch.
Yeah, and I remember that I think it was Easton had sent that tweet out about the fact that you can have a whale come in, because when I was looking at it and I was like, oh, these are like $200. Yeah, you could sweep an entire thing.
By the way, big shout out to Easton Gladney and the whole Pyramid group. They are phenomenal. They're about bringing credibility into the space. I believe in them. Again, long term, we'll see where we all end up. One day in Web3 is a 10 years in the regular world. Things change so drastically so fast. But
Yeah.
he is also part of a potential catalyst. He does get into projects and buys heavy. And I do believe, by the way, in supporting secondary sales, creates that credibility. And we want to open it up to more wallet holders. We don't want one person holding a majority of the NFTs in that collection, because then that can be a dump and that can be a real problem. And then if you create that price issue, you create fear. And then you have a FOMO to hop out, just as you had a FOMO to hop in.
Yeah, that is how it goes. And yeah, honestly, shout out Easton, because he's actually the one who connected us. He's deep in the Elrond ecosystem, dude. And honestly, from a content creator standpoint, it intrigued me because I noticed that not just Easton, but a lot of my friends who are in deep with certain communities, they're very like, I don't know if popular is the right word to have, but their personal following is very dedicated when you are in a smaller community, right? I'm in the ETH community, which is fucking huge. And I'm battling against like all the big dogs with hundreds of thousands of followers. I got no chance against them, right? I'm making my own little niche. It's fine. It's fine. I'll get there. But I was like, damn, like Cody just dropped a project on Solana and he sold that out. They've got tons of extra volume. They've got tons of attention because that Solana community is tight. It's small. And I was thinking at Elrond, I was like, damn, that might be cool to jump in on these blockchains. If I find one that's cool, that I vibe with, that's fun. I heard Elrond's full of builders. Is that why you got into it?
So for ePunks?
Or just like the Elrond blockchain in general?
Yeah, I like the idea that, high transaction speeds. It is proof of stake. I think call it carbon neutral or carbon negative. So it is one of those things where the speed, the use of the Meyer wallet is incredible. It's easy to use. I also like the cohesiveness of the small community, such as projects like Super Rare Bears. Big shout out to them. Crypto Pits, we had them on. Frame It Marketplace, Trust Market. They've just got a lot of really good tools in their ecosystem. And I like the fact that when we think about first market movers, I'm on Ethereum as well. And obviously that merge to proof of stake, we might not benefit off of the transaction fees yet, but I like the idea to play in things early. So as they develop, be like, oh my God, I missed out. And you have that FOMO. And because we pay for our education, like anything that I've lost or anything I haven't sold that's way down, I look at that as the tuition of learning.
Yeah, me too.
And part of that is based on feel.
That's a really interesting way to put it. The tuition. That's how I think about when I fuck up in real life too. I'm like, well, that's how much it costs to live, I guess. I guess it costs me that much to lose out on this stupid venture, but I know I probably won't do it again, or I've learned something, or there's been progress. Like I just watched this podcast and this guy, I don't know what they're talking about exactly, but the idea of like, I think in this particular situation, it was like addiction kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, I was good for like 10 years. He's like, and then I just on a Tuesday just fucking relapsed. And he was like, I don't get it. He's like, I just relapsed. But he goes, but like 10 days after, I went and checked myself in with the whole process. I restarted. And he goes, that's the difference. The first time it took you 10 months. Second time took you 10 days. And I was like, that's really interesting because it is your progress that you're always building on.
Fail forward.
Yeah, that's exactly it, dude. That's exactly it. And you've jumped into the Web3 space. You came from well, I don't know if I call real estate like stable because it's still kind of like commission-based stuff like that. But what made you jump into the Web3 space as a podcast host? I know we talked about it a little bit off camera, but
so when the beginning of March happened in 2020, and the whole world shut down, and safest thing you can do is being put on the news, just stay in your home. Okay, cool. My wife looks at me and she says, "This real estate thing, what are you gonna do?" And I remember sitting down in my basement where I'm sitting now, by the way. So my podcast, by the way, for everybody, I usually have a nice screen fill in the back. And I was thinking I should have had a background for you, my friend. I'm sorry. And I got to get a little CraigO light. But I think when we look back to that time, I said, well, what skill sets can I learn and what am I good at? And I love, like you, having conversations. Most people call them interviews. I feel like it's conversations amongst friends to get people to engage and learn at a high level. And I wanted to know more about cryptocurrencies and NFTs and this whole thing of Web3 and the blockchain. And as soon as I got in, I started to understand that there was so much, this big learning curve. And so it was actually in 2021, in March of 2021, the following year, where I literally had a friend of mine who's actually one of our partners, Sean Rosenfeld. And he's literally like showing me VV and NBA Top Shot. I literally didn't go to sleep that night. And I was like, I'm going to do something in this space. And then the beginning of this year in January, sitting down with my friend at lunch, and we're just having a conversation. He's like, I said, I want to do a podcast. He goes, do you think I'll have enough content? I go, yes. Can you write the check? He goes, I can. We found the studio and the rest is history. I think it's sort of things are kismet. They're just meant to be, and that's just how that came together. And real estate's been doing well. I appreciate, and I can't wait to see how NFTs, because of membership access, ownership, will have an intermingling of, I have my PFP or my house NFT, which when I go to sell that NFT will go to sell with my physical property. That's what I'm excited to see our industry evolve. And so I'm always kind of like looking ahead or thinking ahead. And that obviously requires you to use kind of your, imagination a little bit.
Yeah. And people always talk about that when they're like, what's the point of bringing Web3 into it? Like, they already have this. I'm like, yeah, but that's the point. It's better. It's going to be better. Like, people think about it as like a collectible. They're like, yeah, but you're not going to trade, Zillow NFTs. I'm like, yeah, but like Zillow will not have an NFT that's like that. It'll be a different kind of NFT. At that point, we'll be 10 years in the future that we won't be trading I mean, there will be a subset of people who are degens who are trading like PFPs and stuff like that. But the people who use the blockchain technology aren't going to be dropping an NFT collection to be traded on OpenSea like that. It won't be like that. But I want to go back to what you said. You had a friend. You said, yo, write the checks. And he said, all right, what happened in between, yes, let's do this, to like, I will fund this whole thing? How does that happen? Because I'm sure a lot of people would love to do that.
Yeah. So he just, I mean, how did that check just come about? How did he say, I'm going to just, write it?
Yeah. How'd you make that happen, bro? Like, I'd love that.
Yeah.
I need a producer.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I think two things. Well, he's my real estate attorney. His name is Adam Hirsch. And we already had done a lot of real estate transactions in 2021, obviously, because of the market. And he had a good feel for me and my character. I had a good feel for him and his character. And it just made sense. It just made sense. Like, it just was like, he was looking to invest. He invests in multiple businesses, restaurants. He's got a pot farm. So I was able to tap into that resource and say, here's what I plan on doing. And we've been at this now we're coming into our third quarter, because every quarter we're renewing up with, shout out to Downtime TV. And so he just was like, make sure you get all the content, work hard. And, we'd already had that track record. He knows how hard I worked. So it was just keep learning, keep asking questions, keep growing. So that way, if you can articulate and be comfortable on camera, and, we can grow and monetize this respectfully, because that's really important to me. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Then great. And that, I don't want to say the rest was history. And now, mind you, when I was thinking about a podcast, I was thinking about, okay, who are the friends? Now, mind you, I'm 45. So a number of my friends are established in their career. And those friends, I just thought about, okay, who's a good partner in the work sense that can be patient? That right there was like key, right? Because I have a lot of friends that would say, okay, here's X amount of dollars. Craig, next 24 hours, where's my money? Yeah. And I knew that I would get the time to grow and acclimate to this space and do it right.
So what I'm hearing is connections, baby. Networking. People, hands you shaking. That's the answer here. I remember when I was in high school, dude, I was a 9th grade kid at this rich ass private school. I finally got out of there that year. But I remember this senior who was the best in the team, best in the league, just the most cocky bastard you'll ever meet in your entire life, because he could be. He was crushing it. He was king of high school, right? Where at one of our last practices, he had won the state championship with his own goal the year before. So he's the man, right? And I remember our coach in the middle of the season, or I can't remember when the season, he goes, George, you got to get your grades up. You can't just be getting C's. And I just remember he, like, in the middle of practice, like we're in the middle of a drill, he goes, Coach, it's really not about the grades I make. And I was like, oh, no fucking way he's about to say this. He goes, it's about the hands you shake. And that guy, I'm pretty sure he's on Wall Street now. So it's like, that's just how the world works, dude. That's how the world works. So, but that's crazy that you were able to do that and not have someone who's, breathing down your back. Like, yo, where's the VC funds? Like, where's the 10 million subscribers,
By the way, total Chad, shout out to you. It is absolutely right. It's when opportunity collides with preparation. That's when luck happens, right? When you're prepared and you're ready to meet that opportunity. You can call it, like that's when, I got lucky, because a lot of people could say it that way. But at the end of the day, you had to be prepared. And if I wasn't prepared, no matter how much my friend loves me, he probably would have given me like a little bit of petty money, like, hey, go try it on your own. You don't owe me anything. Versus he's like, I'm in it. Let's roll up the sleeves and do it together. Let's go. And
absolutely, dude. Because that's how I was thinking. I was like, man, if I was like older and I had crushed it somewhere and I had all this extra money and I was like, okay, well, like I could go buy stuff and do things and, you know, get another gym membership at another place or do whatever. Or I could like, I see this person, this kid maybe, or this older guy or someone I see potential in. And I'm like, yo, they just need this one thing that I can maybe provide and I can help. It makes me feel good. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's like charity work, but I feel like it's something that people would want to do once they're able to do it. And I kind of want to do a similar thing. Like that's one of the things that drives me is that when I want to get to the top so that I can do fun shit, like do something that I almost wish that had happened to me on the way up. Even though I think that if someone had given me something in the beginning, maybe I don't know if I would have worked it hard, but I don't know if I believe that. I think I probably would just worked extra hard.
But you're on a voyage with, you know, Joyage is on a voyage, and
Yeah.
branding and how you're positioning yourself and the content that you're talking about, spot on. You're connecting with an audience, and I think our audiences have to be vast. Like you connected with me. I'm 45, different demographic, different state. You connected with me. I like what you're putting out there. And in turn, I think obviously being on your podcast, you're like what I'm putting out there. And that to me is a really big win, because I like to say that these podcasters, the podcasters that I respect, like you, like Cassius Cuvée, like I had Crypto Rain on last week on my podcast. Nice. These are just like really good people who are establishing themselves in the space. They care about credibility and being long-term. They're a diamond mind, diamond hand approach to the content, and then also to investment strategies. Obviously with investment strategies, I always ask myself after I got into a project, Craig, was that FOMO? Did you really read enough? Did you really ask enough of the right questions? But that's good. I mean, I'm always going to feel that way. I'm never going to feel fully satisfied. And by the way, Andre, shout out to the Crypto Gems. They are on the Elron network. So big shout out to that family for hopping in. I appreciate you guys for hopping into this with Cade.
Yeah, hell yeah. And also, I know some people are in here in the YouTube chat. If you're watching this on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, like for others, just Twitch. I think Twitch is also streaming. I don't know where you guys are watching this, but if you come over to the YouTube stream, you can chat. There's a little chat box in there. I don't think on Twitter. I'm not looking at the Twitter thing at least. So if you leave a comment on the Twitter thing, I probably won't see it. So if you wanna participate in some of this DGen chatting, then hop into the YouTube stream. But anyways, so we talked about the little beginning, the origin, the genesis of Craig's Corner, Crypto Corner. Who's on the list that you're like, in 1 year we can get them? And then how about like a 5-year one where you're like, in 5 years we should be able to get to them? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah. So everything's kind of been reversed, right? So I thought, okay, my audience will grow and then I'll have all these big people. It's actually in reverse, right? And this is kind of exciting if people go to our channel and see, I've had Bill Ottman on. He's Joe Rogan's right-hand guy to anything Web3 related. He's also a personal friend of mine. And he has a platform called Minds. It's partially on the Ethereum blockchain, and they have their Minds token. And they're about freedom of speech. You've got left and right, and I'm independent right down the line. I'm never going to change that position for anything. So if it upsets someone, oh well, I'm right down the line. I just respect people. Everybody are entitled to their opinion. Just do it respectfully. So I had him on. I also had on Amanda Terry from On-Chain Monkey. They're a very respected project on the Ethereum blockchain. What they are doing, I am extremely bullish on them long-term and short-term. Again, you're not going to be making quick flips on by buying their token, but you can have their Genesis or their Karma collection or get one of the desserts. I love them. So I had them on. I also had on Drew Austin from Knights of Degen. That's another great community on the Ethereum blockchain. Yeah, I mean, that's just off the top of my head. I had Cassius Cuvée, who's a podcaster. He's got, over 7,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel.
You had that girl from what was it? CoinDesk, right?
Yes, Casey Craig, Global Head of Communications. We actually did it at our listing at 11 Blue Water. It's my co-agent's listing, not mine personally. It'd be great if it were for $11.5 million, and you could actually buy that home with crypto. You'll have to use an exchange like FTX, but it's pretty cool.
Damn, that's really cool. Wow, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So someone actually spending crypto on a real thing.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah. I don't know that there's like a specific guest per se. Like I don't want just a name with followers. I want great content. And it doesn't mean that I don't want a great person that everybody recognizes, like Frank the Gods, is it, from Utes? Or Gary V. That's cool. But you don't want that short clout. You want people to come to your channel, engage with it. We're going to be launching CraigOCrypto Corner onto, I believe, Spotify. We are on YouTube. We are on TikTok. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and obviously we keep everything on our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of great content there for people to see over the past 6 months since we started. I believe in actually it was early March.
So nobody comes to mind as far as how about just like amazing conversation instead of like followers or clout or like that person and this person.
Yeah. So I think I'd like to actually, and I'll probably reach out to. I think I'll probably reach out to probably Casey Craig, and I'll probably get some maybe the journalists from CoinDesk. That would be cool, you know. So
yeah, that is very cool. Total Chat says Craig walks in. I'm here to kick some ass and chew some bubble gum. I'm all out of bubble gum. Some last follow face. Hey, Bryce is in the house. What's up, Bryce?
Love it. What's up, Bryce? Yeah, I like that one, Chad. I'll kick some ass, but most respectfully. You know, I want to make sure that we're bringing on good people, but I feel like the journalists really cover stories like CoinDesk broke a lot of really great stories, such as the brothers that were doing the Solana. They were actually tied. They had like 11 dummy developers, meaning fake developers, but they really had puffed themselves. And there was actually a tweet that one of the brothers, I think Ian, never sent out from his Twitter account, and somehow CoinDesk found it. You know, very interesting how they get their stories. But at the end of the day, you know, this is a very heavily manipulated marketplace, and you have to understand this is the Wild West, and you can enjoy this space and not have to put a dime in and actually be well educated. And if you can do that and not invest, man, more power to you. I can't. I gotta take some risks here as well.
Me too.
You know?
Yeah, every now and then I just get the itch. I want to buy it. Like I'm telling you, like I've been watching the Elrond NFTs and like, bro, I could be in the #1 project on Elrond for like a few $100, or like I forget if it's a few hundred or a few thousand. But I'm just like, oh my god, like that's enticing to me. I'm like, dang.
I feel like it's a strategy for you that you could make a good play on a good project. And again, I don't want to be, because I'm known to a lot of these communities, respected. I don't want to steer, but I definitely want to suggest that maybe you go heavy on a few, but you hold, and you don't just sell out.
I'd be looking to hold
with purpose. And that's interesting for us because we're podcasters, and that goes towards maybe what we'll chat about if you so want. You know, who are sponsors? Who do we want to sponsor? Who do we want to get those things from? And that really, to me, is kind of what I'm focused on for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a very interesting topic that I have introduced this concept a few months, I think back in the fall when I first introduced the topic of what I thought would have already happened. It hasn't really, I mean, it's happened, I guess, a little bit, but I thought more NFT projects would turn. I noticed a trend and a pattern that NFT projects were following a similar trend to how social media people in 2014 to 2017 blew up. They blow up, they get a lot of attention, they start signing people, they'd grow from that, they'd start doing drops, and they just keep going from there. But they'd utilize the social media influencers and kind of follow a similar path. And so I thought partnerships would be quick. I thought they'd be happening on a smaller scale because it makes so much logical sense. I'm like, if you're ePunks and you're somewhat well known in the Elrond ecosystem, you partner up with some ex-YouTuber. They've got the entire audience that covers the entire NFT space. You could, if it was me or any other YouTuber covers the whole space, now your net is like 10,000 times bigger. And I'm like, why would that not make any sense? You don't have to pay them that much. Like there's YouTubers that I guarantee if you just had a few $100 a month, they'd be more than happy to put your name into every single video, you know?
Yeah. But I also think that they also run out of things to talk about. So last night I was actually in the ePunks Discord or Twitter Spaces. And it was really interesting. He goes, it gets really tiring to continuously push and create new content. And so the idea that I had is you can just sometimes come into a conversation and just talk about your life or my kids or, you know, working out at the gym or, you know, a goal that you have in mind, because that's how real community is built. That's one of the things I love about, you know, On-Chain Monkey is how they really have a great sense of community and they bring on big people into the space. So to me, that's what I'm like looking for is big people that have great ideas that a light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, all right, I want to go down that path, because we're constantly inundated and consumed with information. So you kind of have to put on these shutters, especially in Web3. And then we have our everyday life. So you've got like two worlds that we're contending with, Web3 and Web2. And that's tough.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Actually, hit the nail right there in the coffin. And the communities, I'm gonna be keeping an eye. I'm gonna probably get after the podcast. I'll have you, and I'll probably ask Easton too, what communities I should be looking at or focusing on that you guys have personal experience with, because I'm sure I'll be wanting to jump in there because you know we get along. So I imagine like I'll probably like that feel of that community too. And so, yeah, no, I think it's an interesting idea, but I thought the NFT projects would partner up. I had a little bit. Me and Subducks had a partnership for a while in the bull run.
Yes.
We didn't sever the partnership. We just changed the partnerships. They're not giving me like money every month or anything like that. I'm not mentioning them in every single video. But we're more just like a Web3 partnership. We collab like that kind of thing. Like every now and then we'll do a giveaway together or something like that. So it's more like that. I just like Frankie. I've had him on the podcast. I've had all the people on the Subducks team on the podcast.
Yeah.
So it's a good time. But I thought more NFT projects would do it. And then I was like, okay, well, NFT projects aren't going to do it. Potentially you're looking at Web3 news channels. Like I literally said, CoinDesk is probably on the list there, like one of those kind of companies.
Yeah.
And then probably just normal Web2 companies.
See, I think that was really interesting is because I was honored when we got Casey from CoinDesk to come on, global head of communications, and she really knows her stuff well, and she really engages with her journalists. So for her, it was, where do they see, our conversation was mostly in that particular podcast was focused on, where do we see crypto going? Where are we right now in this bear as we're kind of like licking our wounds, metaphorical wounds on financial losses, or if you didn't sell, you're just holding tight and cost averaging. And then we also talked about, journalists, journalists operating the beat, and they mostly cover crypto. They have been lately covering a couple NFT stories, which I thought was really interesting, just on a couple different projects that they're, looking into. And I'll get that every morning. I set up notifications for Google Alerts. That's a great thing for your audience to start to do, is Google Alerts, and then also just subscribe to CoinDesk. And another great conversation, I had to throw this one out because I didn't want to forget. My boy Ralph Quintero from the Daily Ralpha, he started a group last year called JPEG Morgan. Maybe somebody you were going to talk to.
That's actually really funny.
JPEG, and well, funny enough, what's even funnier or really cool about that story is that group, JPEG Morgan, their group particularly, because there's a lot of copycats, right? Copycat collections, but their group in particular, if you look for Ralph Quintero, you'll find JPEG Morgan. Their group rose to stardom last year because the Winklevoss twins said, where can I get some of this JPEG merch? So, it's interesting how our lives, with a simple tweet, because the thing that we'll hear a lot, I hear it probably from you, and I've heard it from other people, is, Craig, I really like your content. Why don't you have more followers? Guys, I'm not focused on that. You'll follow me if you like me. You won't if you don't, and that's okay. Follow Cade or follow us both. I can't get caught up on that, because if I'm caught up on that, I'm not focused on quality of content. And that to me is when, if you lose yourself, you don't have an audience. So.
It's very true. Yeah, that's a very good thing to bring up. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't even have anything to add to that. That was pretty much spot on right there. So also are you looking to make any other? Are you just looking to do the interviews and the podcast? Have you thought about branching into making more content covering this space a different way, or is it just gonna be podcasts you're sticking to?
Yep. So when my introduction, it's great reviews, which I've done a few. I've done obviously great conversations with the leading people in the Web3 ethos. And then this Friday, it's Winklevoss, by the way, this coming Friday, it's going to be the things in Web3. So the things in Web3, I'm going to talk about Starbucks Odyssey, which is a stamp, which is their NFT collection. Who better than them? And I love the idea around mass adoption. We're going to be talking about favorite NFT communities that I particularly like, not gearing anybody towards it, but what I see as long-term vision for the community and the maturity of conversation on Twitters and Discord. Now, mind you, if you throw too many gifts, like I have my gifts like the comb, I'm actually going to come up with a couple other fun ones to kind of laugh at the industry, but not attack. But I find that, things in Web3 is where I get to do that. And then from home, where I just no backdrop here with Bart Simpson in the back, if you guys can see it, my son, he loves to just do just coloring on this painted whiteboard, and my daughter as well. But I'll do the things in Web3 from home. And for instance, the other day I got a call from a friend of mine whose friend lost $25,000 in his cold wallet, in his Ledger wallet. And I said, how'd that happen? So we started asking a bunch of questions. I don't say troubleshooting, but like I like to kind of dig and figure out, and I've read enough articles on Ledger. And people, if you're going to get another cold wallet, don't get it from Best Buy. Don't get it from Amazon. Go directly to Ledger. The reason being is that it's kind of like a free bank account. If I can unseal that box, which I don't have the technical ability to, hook it up to something, put some like, I don't say malware or whatever it is into Web3, standard, just put a contract in there that then you then go online a month or two later. Oh, looks like that one's up and running. Ooh, they have this, great. I've got the private key because I obviously went in and did what I had to do before. I sealed it back up beautifully. Somebody came, grabbed it off the shelf, and left out of the store. So buy it from Ledger. You will be the best. You'll be in the best shape for that. And we see secondary cold wallets are contaminated. Yeah, I don't think getting a secondary, get a primary, go directly to Ledger. I think that's what you mean. If not, let me know.
It is talking some kind of science experiment.
Yeah, this is awesome. And this is what I'm saying. This is what I love about these real talks in real time is Bryce seems to know his stuff. So yeah. So again, that's the best piece of advice and the only piece of advice that I have. And when you have a cold wallet, don't hook it onto OpenSea. Don't interact with contracts that you don't know. Just send stuff there and send it back to a primary. Don't pay the gas. Pay the extra money. Don't try to save money and be slick. It's a cold wallet for a reason. It's cold. It's never connected to anything.
Yeah, I agree. I do not like connecting my Ledger to fucking anything. I had one scam. I think I survived like 8 months without a scam, and then I got fucked. It wasn't my Ledger, thank God. It was one of my other wallets, but I just remember I linked it up, and within a minute I was like, oh fuck, and I ran over and checked my OpenSea. I was like, oh, and I had lost my World of Women Galaxy, and I was like, no.
You know what though? Scholarship, bro. Scholarship. You paid to learn.
Oh, dude, that was one of the biggest
I'm sorry.
Financial L's in my entire life. I was sitting there, I was like, bruh, I wasn't gonna sell it, but oh my God, that hurts.
Yeah, but that's when you're most passionate to come on and create content. True. I realized how angry, and this was before I had my podcast, there was Hate Beast. It came out last year. And I got a dummy site in Discord. I was not experienced. And I hooked up to a malicious site. I call Sean, who's one of our partners, because I have 2 partners, and on the podcast. And I said, Sean, he's like, oh shit, here's what you do. And I'm like panicking, I'm shaking, and I lost $950. And it's $950 for some people have lost tens of thousands. I can't imagine how horrible it feels, but
Easton, that is part of Easton lost that. He lost like over 10,000.
Easton, yeah,
I know. Oh my God, that one hurts. When he told me about that, I was like, $10,000. Like, what the fuck? That would hurt me very bad. That would almost, I could see $10,000 being enough to like leave, Yeah.
And Bryce is right. You do live to fight another day. And but these are like small, and again, money's all relative. I know 2 people. I was very big into Voyager. When I say very big, I $10,000 I might not ever get back because they filed filed for chapter 11. Yeah. Not chapter 7, which is good. So if you don't know the difference, everybody go Google that. But they're using the same attorneys that they're using for the other platform as well, Celsius. So Celsius and Voyager are using the same attorney for their chapter 11 refiling. But I remember looking at Steve Ulrich from Voyager, and I'm not mad at him, but I mean, this guy is the best. He's got Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. Oh, my money's safe there. Yep. And I'm gonna get their VGX token. Why not get it there? When Celsius went out, I said, shit. I said, I got the VGX token. I don't know that I thought about, now that I could have thought about it, I could have actually transferred that VGX token, I believe, to my MetaMask wallet. And now I'm watching the pumps, but the pumps haven't equaled my cost average of about $3.50, I think. And I've got about 3,000 tokens. So it is what it is. It is what it is, learning lesson. But this is why, holding your own crypto, not your keys, not your crypto, is a big lesson. And then I was asked at dinner the other night what I thought about Coinbase. I think Coinbase is good. I also think in a weird way, they're kind of Zillow-esque in how they're approaching the space with their NFT community. Their launch was not very successful at the beginning. I think a lot of people could admit that. But I think there's a lot of corporate Wall Street money behind them that I don't see them failing, but I think they also got to learn from the lessons of Celsius and Voyager, who were then taking out their money and saying, hey, all right, Cade, hey, Craigo, you seem to be, hey, we're going to give you some money. You make on the upside, send us money back. You can keep, your percentage. Yeah. And I think that's how people were playing until they didn't know when the bull was over. And they were hedging their bets. And I thought Voyager was way more conservative, but unfortunately they weren't,
Yeah, dude, honestly, that stuff scared me a lot. Like even companies like BlockFi. Like I looked at BlockFi, looked at Gemini, looked at Coinbase. I was like, kings. Like they're not going to fail. They got too much money to fail. How could you possibly screw this up? You've got millions of dollars transacting. You've got millions of cash that you should have on the side, but you don't because you were leveraging all of it. And I literally couldn't believe it. But I got lucky that I just happened to pull out all my money from Voyager literally the week before. I wasn't even aware that they might close down. I just was like, I got all this money sitting here. Like I'm down on most of it. I'd rather just have this. Like I just don't really. It's not going up anytime soon. There's no reason to leave it in here. Like I'd rather just have the money now. So it's like, okay, I'll take the L. I'll write it off on taxes. No problems. I pulled the money out. A week later, like Voyager goes down, and I was like, oh wow, that would have really sucked. So
yeah, I mean, look at Terra Luna. I have a buddy lost quite a amount. Cumulatively, I know 5 people. I think total of 5 million. And then that kind of told me that blood in the water. And then Celsius, I think, was next. I knew a few people that got hurt there in the hundreds. And then I knew 2 people who were in Voyager directly. And we talked to them a lot. And cumulatively between the both of them, about another 5 million. They might get something back. I don't know. But these are the risks early on that we take. And again, it's all relative. It depends on what your net worth is and, what percentage of your net worth or what you're earning you're putting into. So never do more than you can. And, one of the biggest practices that I was saying in the bull market, and I'll probably continue to say it, especially when I'm talking about NFT projects, is it's not financial advice. And, you can say consult with your financial advisor, but your financial advisor, no disrespect, they don't know shit about this space. They don't, because you have to know the nuances. And that's where, do your own research, learn about it. So I'll just say this is not financial advice, because then people were saying all podcasts, this is not financial advice, consult with your financial advisor. But it's like, I'm going to just say it's not financial advice, but I don't want to tell you to go consult with someone that probably is not into crypto. Some of them are, but it's not thought of still highly. And that's where I hope when NFTs are more adopted, they have EFTs, I believe, for EFT funds for Bitcoin and Ethereum for bigger brokerages. So they're starting to do that stuff as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that entire situation made me very, very aware of the not your keys, not your crypto, because it didn't really matter before. It's like, yeah, but like I can still use Coinbase, it's easier, and like it just makes sense for the average consumer to use that because it is easier. But that really gave me a wake up call. It's like, wow, if I'm going to be stacking ETH or stacking any kind of crypto, I am never again going to leave it on it. There's just no reason to. Like it's just so silly. Like they literally closed withdrawals and deposits during the merge. Like Coinbase was like, no, you may not, for the days before and leading up to it and stuff like that. You couldn't use ETH on Coinbase during the merge. And I was like, why are you able to do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like I thought the whole point of crypto was not for this. I know it's not. It's just, I don't really understand. Like I know that NFTs, for people to take it seriously, right? They're like, we need to go more VC funds. We need all these things. I'm like, okay, like at what point are we just going to be right back where we started and not anything about the ethos of Web3 is going to be here, because that's the cost of going to the top, and I don't know where that line's going to be. And if we're going to make it to that line, what it's going to look like if it gets to the top, is it going to cost everything,
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I just look at it as an industry. And that's why I cover it like a media company. Like I cover the space like a media conglomerate. And I cover stories I think are interesting, because I know at some point the attention will be back and those videos will start to crush again. I can probably get sponsored with those kind of videos. This is my thought process there. So I'm starting now. But that's the way I cover the space. I look at it like a fun little game world of the future, obviously. But right now we have these online communities. Everyone's running around. Maybe they're an e-punk. Maybe they're a fucking whatever NFT, and they've got their little community of people. And yes, there's not that many people here because we're in a recession. But in any normal market, it doesn't have to be a massive bull market, but in a market where it's somewhat healthy, I think those online communities will start to come back, and we'll start to see surges of that. And I think that the attention will be there, and people are interested in what's happening on Twitter when there's big drama and stuff.
By the way, Bryce just brought up something which I thought was a really good point. Centralization and DeFi, decentralization. There's such a blurred line there, because when I think of centralized platforms, I was thinking of Voyager at a certain point in my education. And
me too.
Like I felt you're safer there. You're in the kiddie pool. Alex Becker, who's also another podcaster, and I respect his content. He's talked about this. And when you're ready to come out into the big pool, you got to have your hot wallet, which is nothing more than an extension. And so I'm challenged by the idea of that, but I understand what he's saying. I might challenge this, Bryce, is that I think when you get traditional businesses that find matured NFT communities who have good engagement, have donated money, who have supported growth of other NFT communities. You know, again, and I speak to all this, and when I think of it, it's the first one that comes to my head is On-Chain Monkey. They do it at every corner. And there's a bunch of NFT communities, but that one specifically, when you can attract that and you can attract mass adoption, or, you know, I'm going to talk about the Starbucks story on my podcast and give about 5 different points that I think are relevant. That's when I don't think it's as much as centralized versus DeFi, but I understand where he's coming from. But I'm going to think it's about the credibility and also the ease of use with, you know, our smartphone, being able to, you know, Solana, they have a phone with a built-in hot wallet. I got to assume there's got to be a higher level security protocol. Again, assumptions, a higher level protocol. And then also that it's a product that people can use that's already there. It's the apps are already set up. When we get our smartphones, apps are already in place for us, most of them. And then they make it easy just by putting in your information, and then all your information populates. Now, mind you, when cell phones first came out and then we went over to smartphones, you didn't, at the beginning, you didn't have the ability to trade. You had to take your time, and it was hours, and it was a lot. Now, within 10, 15 minutes, all your stuff is transferred over. You're out the door, and all you want to make sure is that the smartphone, they do all the credits to trade in. You got to make sure they do a hard reset on that phone, because you don't want your footprint, and we don't know what that looks like. We're in a very digital world, and we have to be very careful with security as well. So just my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. When I got into the NFT space, and it was like beginning of last summer, I remember when I downloaded MetaMask, there was not really much content about NFTs at all. And, you know, I had a little bit of experience with crypto stuff, but not anything with like MetaMask or Trust Wallet, not to the extent that I needed it for NFTs. And there was like not videos on it. Like I would be like, hey, what happens when a MetaMask does this? And like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like nobody knew. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll just figure it out on my own. And that's how it was in those early days. Like now there's videos on videos on videos on videos. So it's like in my head, when new people come in and they're like, I'm so helpless, I don't know what to do. I'm like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, there's every opportunity to learn this stuff on your own, and you can make it happen in literally a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I
agree.
Brett says, I respect that, Craig. Oh, anyone can pull off salt and pepper beers. There's their opinions to be heard. That's funny.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But to your point, I was going to say to your point earlier about having the right people in your ecosystem buying in, like it does matter. Like that's why I'm so big on audience creation and having the right people following me, because those people I care more about having. It's not as important to me to have 50,000 followers if, you know, 40,000 of them are 15-year-old kids who aren't really going to be able to. They're just like looking for someone to tell them what to do, kind of thing.
Right,
and I think that audience creation is really important, especially if you drop a project. You don't really want 90% of your people being 15-year-old kids. You want them to be smart. And like, that's kind of the key to having like a Bored Ape Yacht Club situation where people are aware of the value it is being in there. So they don't think about dropping the floor all the way back to 10 ETH kind of thing, you know?
Right. Right. And by the way, to Total Chad's point, you know, he started his MetaMask when he joined Sandbox back in 2020. So I think the thought to that is, right, like, you know, we're in a very instant gratification society. So if I buy something today, I expect that it's money long term. So like when we talk offline about, okay, Craig, how are you focusing on the Elrond network? I'm going to kind of give you what I think the long-term strategies are. And then obviously a lot of the conversations I've had with Easton, you know, and again, there's a projects that I might suggest to you that I haven't gotten involved in, but I'll tell you why specifically, or a specific or notable tweet or Discord. I like to see how people are communicating back and forth. And again, that's how you get to the truth of things, is that if I have an opposing opinion and you have one, this is something that Patrick Bet-David, somebody who I followed very close for a number of years, he talks about. You want to get to the truth, get somebody in a room, 2 people in a room that have opposing opinions, and right in the middle, you will find the truth. You will find the truth.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to see, like, I don't know, someone super famous on the right wing go against someone on the left wing, like, but make it manageable. Like I know if like Ben Shapiro comes on, he's gonna out argue anybody no matter what. So like I want to see like I don't know who it would be, maybe like a Jordan Peterson or something like that against someone who's civilized, can hold an argument, a conversation, but isn't going to dominate them with debate skills. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that'd be really, really interesting to see how that goes.
Really cool. Really cool. Yeah, you know, and I think politics and all the other things, good and bad, are coming into the metaverse, are going to be in Web3. And I think to be ahead of that is really important. And yes, Pat Patrick Bet David is awesome. I totally agree with you, Chad.
Yeah, with the Web3 industry in general, it gives. I forget who I was having this conversation with yesterday. I don't know who I was talking to this about, but the Web3 space is interesting because you can be in a room with someone that you normally wouldn't have been in a room with, or someone who is way further you in some aspect of their world that you want to be part of, that because of Web3 you're able to talk to them. Like, you don't, like, people don't realize famous people are in here, and guess what, some of them are anonymous as fuck. You don't know that they're famous. Like, I have friends right now in the space I talk to every week, and they're like famous rappers, and people don't know that they're famous rappers, and they're in random discords talking to people as an anonymous person. They're like, they're just having fun, and I'm like, bro, you were just talking shit with this other guy, and he's got 6 million followers on Instagram. You don't even notice. And like, maybe at some point he'll like dox himself to you or something, and you can realize, holy shit, I didn't realize I was talking to this person. And that's the power of Web3. Like, I remember my first big podcast with Greg Norman. I'm in there talking to him, like, yo, this guy's like a multi-million-dollar businessman, entrepreneur guy. He literally is the guy. And why am I talking to him? I was like, why is he talking to me?
Yeah, because everybody's positioning themselves. You're positioning yourself and building your brand. I'm doing the same. And so are the celebrities. And I think the celebrities that are patient, because I'll also see that there are celebrities that play in this space that have had collections. And everybody deserves credit for what they're doing in this space. But I think that there's this fine line where if you are doxxed and you are a celebrity, you want to make yourself accessible. But I also believe that humility is super important. And I think this is a space that humbles people very fast. You can play all the games, you can manipulate whatever you want. But at the end of the day, people might not be on that keyboard typing about what you're doing, but they see it. They know. So
I agree.
Just my thoughts on that,
Yeah. And honestly, okay, so here's the last question I want to bring on this topic, because I feel like we've talked about it a lot. But as far as Elron, just because I'm interested, it's my last question on them. What, if you could describe in like a sentence or two, the difference between why you like Elron, just why you like Elron, I guess.
It has a lot more room for growth.
Good. That's fire. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. That sounds good to me. Okay. Now this is what's really interesting to me. And I've been waiting to ask this question. I want to hear the day in the life. You wake up 8 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m. You got kids. You got a life.
I got two. I have a daughter. She's 3. I have a son that's 6. He's my little mini me. We actually did a podcast with him, and it was a lot of fun. I had his friend who's 10. So there's a difference, but my son did the intro. It was really cute. And it was a proud dad moment for me. And, somebody was like, oh, why would you get you know what? My life.
Yeah.
My life and my kids are good. They're healthy. They're good. We've got a good family dynamic working here.
That's very cool.
So a day of my life is my daughter will probably be the first to wake up. She'll come into bed with us, and she's just daddy's little girl. She'll just snuggle with me. We fall asleep for a while. Then my son will be going, mommy. She'll run in the other room. They'll go down for breakfast. I'll make all the beds, make sure I'm the one that likes to keep the house organized. I'm very OCD. So hopefully that shows in our content, but making sure that, that we have a clean house before we leave the house is really important to me. And so then I'll drop my son off. I'll be running errands. I'll be taking out clients to go look at properties. I'll be on listing appointments. I have a great real estate partner and super grateful for that. And then just working on podcast content, working with my buyers, generating new leads for business on my real estate end. And then also throughout the day, I'm on Twitter. Like, you guys can connect me, Craig Oshrin or Craig's podcast, Craig's Crypto Corner. I love to just be in there engaging, supporting community, supporting positivity, and just peeping what's going right and what's going wrong. And what's going wrong, I just sit back and I just, okay, cool, I check it. I'm out. So that's kind of a little bit of a day in my life. And then I'll pick up my son. We'll all come home. Well, most of the time we have dinner together. My wife's very big on that. And then it's bedtime. And then I'm back to burning the midnight candle, creating content. And I think the thing that I have to do at a certain point when I know that I'm not being productive anymore is turn my phone off and then just go to bed. And that's sort of the thing I'm working on.
Me too, dude. I struggle with that every single fucking night. Literally every night. I'm like, why am I still awake on my phone? I can just go to sleep and I can do it tomorrow. It's really hard, dude. It's a really hard life, but that's cool shit. I was gonna say in regards to the podcast with your kid, that's very interesting to me, because I feel like when I was a kid, not even when I was a kid, it was probably 21 years old before I felt like I was treated like a, not like an adult, but not treated like a child. You know,
Yeah.
like literally took 21 years till I got to the restaurant industry to have someone treat me not like a kid. And I
Yeah.
remember like vividly being like, damn, that was kind of cool. So that's really cool that you're giving me the opportunity, like speaking to him like a normal human being, you know?
100%. We were just building a puzzle today. We do roller coaster. We built a Lego roller coaster, it's 3,500 pieces, and he built a lot of it. You know, there's certain
Wow.
points where we got like frustrated and we're like, all right, let's back away from this right now. We'll come back. But no, I mean, he's my little guy, and you know, I want to build for him. I want to
Yeah.
build for my daughter. I want them to see dad as an example. My daughter to see a gentleman, what a man should be, and my son to see a respectable gentleman so he can be one himself. And also be successful in life and in business. That's important to me, and I want me to be that example for him.
Yeah, how do you think that works? Like I grew up around, like I said, all those rich kids, and a
Yeah,
lot of their parents are really, not all of them, but a lot of them are good people. They meant really well, and
yeah,
I guess they couldn't help it. I guess they were rich or something, and so like their kid turned out to be kind of like a jackass. You know what I mean? And so I was
yeah,
just like interested, so I was like, man, they were so successful, and they probably wanted so hard to just be like the beacon of inspiration, you know? And then
yeah.
something along the lines went wrong. Like, what do you think that is?
So, you know, some kids are born, you know, born and they just have their personality disposition. And over time it comes out like these, you know, natural things of manipulation and lying, right? Where do we learn lying? We learn it through manipulation. We learn it
Yeah,
when we're kids, you know, like, oh, I want that. Hey, did you have a gummy bear? Yeah, I had one. Or no, I didn't have one. And you're like, but you just said you had one. Or, you know, like kids, like they learn at that point, and then your job is to steer them in the right direction and say, hey, we don't do lying here. We don't.
mm,
You know, because if you're gonna lie, you gotta cover it up with another lie and another lie and another lie. So I'd rather you just give me the truth now, because then you're just sweeping up, you know, just more shit on top of shit.
I just get
So you know,
scared of that, dude. I just get so nervous because I'm like, oh my god, like I like how do you like play the line, like, because yeah, you don't want your kid to lie, but then I'm like thinking about my life. I'm like, oh, I'm sure I've lied and like
sure,
something good happened from it. I'm like, fuck, like how do you get to the point where you're able to weigh it in a balanced,
right?
healthy way, you know?
Yeah, risk to reward, right? I mean, isn't that
Yeah.
kind of it's investing in a simple sense? And but I always think like, you know, if you tell a lie, and then that question is where's karma? Because karma is
Mm,
always around.
true,
Whether it's
true.
10, 20 years ago, karma is always there to visit. So do more good in the world. But again, we're not perfect people. You know,
Yeah.
we're in a world that is you have to be careful. So I don't want to say like, hey, sometimes lying makes sense, but it depends on the situation. It really does. I'd like to say in general context, yeah, daily lying, not good. You know, if you're in business and you're working a deal and someone says, hey, what was that offer? You know, well, I can't tell you. But if you keep pressing, like, oh yeah, it was this. You know, you don't. You gotta be careful, and you also have to be ethical. And remember, if you get caught lying, you're gonna have to pay for that, and you
Yeah.
might not want that. That's what you have to think about it. What is the penalty? What is that risk to reward?
Mm.
If the reward is greater, go for it. If you feel like you need to lie your ass off to get what you need, go for it. Doesn't work for me, and I've never had like, wow, that was a successful lie. Let me keep running with it. You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually a funny concept. Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. That's very interesting. I also have some questions here. I had a couple of questions that I forget if I put them on the Discord or Twitter, just like random things I thought were really interesting. Do you have any do you have any guilty pleasures that you have?
I yeah, I gotta say it's crypto, bro. Like, are you kidding me? Like guilty pleasures, you know, it's like my wife's like, what do we have? What is this?
My
You know, what if
God.
you're not like, how do I access this? Like, what do I do? So I would say crypto. Um, yeah, smoking cigars with my friends. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Did that start from Andrew Tate? Be honest, or you've been smoking those before?
Say that again.
You catch up on that from Andrew Tate?
No, no, no. I've been smoking well before him. You know, like when I'll have a cigar. So I'd say cigar is like the guilty pleasure because I'm a distance runner. So you can't be like, hey, let me just stogie. All right, let me go run 3 miles. They don't work, you know?
That's funny. Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny that now if you do smoke a cigar though, people assume that it's Andrew Tate. Like I just
Yeah.
did. I was like, oh, like it's probably Andrew
Yep.
Tate had a little bit of effect on it. Like now when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I don't want to smoke the cigar because I don't want people to be like, ah, he's an Andrew Tate stan. He loves Andrew Tate. He wants Andrew
Yeah.
Tate. He does everything. And it's just it's
Yeah.
crazy, the social
I
media
think
world.
Andrew Tate goes to a bigger dichotomy of social behavior. And it's interesting the
Mm,
hypocrisy in him not being canceled, so say, but just all the things that he went through. I don't find it fair. I don't find it fair. You don't have to like what he says, but listen, there are a lot of people that if you want to put on the line of being canceled, he's way back, but yet he was set in front and center. So it's just really kind of interesting how that.
Well, it's the attention, dude.
plays.
If he didn't have that much attention, they wouldn't have fucking banned because they don't care. But they're like, oh my god, this guy's getting, 10 to 100,000 people a stream. It's like, this is, I think they were like, this is getting out of hand. We don't want him representing our platform with this much attention. And so they're like, cut it, which is crazy to me. Like, just exactly it doesn't matter who it is.
It's exactly the reason why. So yeah, you're okay with him being canceled or taken off. At least exactly what you said is the reason. Just be honest about it. And that to me is why I stay so far away from politics, is whether it's left or right. It's just, it's you're never going to make, I don't want to say never make anybody happy. Be respectful. Be as transparent as you can in business. Because again, you can't always be, right? Because if you're transparent, your clients are having you represent them. So my fiduciary responsibilities to my clients in crypto and NFTs, be as respectful. If I own this project, I'm going to tell you. If I like it, I'm going to tell you why. If I don't own it and I like it, I'm going to tell you that too. I don't want to play games with you. And I think that's the problem, is that in this space, that is getting shaken out. And the reason why we agreed to do each other's podcasts is because we respect each other. And I believe that there's a trust bridge, and that was formed in mere moments. Yep, no politics, no religion at work. And I'm even going to say just amongst groups of people, unless it's your own group where you have a certain particular opinion on a certain particular topic. But I agree with Chad on that one. No politics, no religion. I think you can talk about religion so long as it's not divisive. Like, I'm Jewish. Hey, Craig, do you celebrate this? Do you like Christmas trees? I love Christmas trees. I ain't got one in my home. I'd love one. So that's my take on it. Is if it's about something to unite and bring about a solution or a growth moment for the kids, I'm all for it. But if not interested. I'll just take my gin or my scotch and I'll go sit at the other table while you guys argue amongst yourselves.
What's the best scotch that I should be looking at? Part of the reason I joined at that bar down the street a couple times a week is so that I could learn about this stuff and be put in a situation where I don't have a choice but to learn about it. So I've been looking at different scotches because I want to like them. I want to like some kind of tequila and some kind of scotch that I can sip.
Yep. So this is oh, there we go. Yep.
Jack. Is this a Jack something?
Yep. So I got this, actually, this is from my business partner. It's Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker and Sons. I guess it's white label, 200th anniversary. I don't know if it's a white label. Like, they got blue, black, and red. But this, I like Johnny Walker when I can. I started off the beginning of the year, no coffee, no alcohol. Yeah, I'm sorry. This guy's coffee here, and obviously that was alcohol. So every once in a while, it's very light. Because at the end of the day, creative process is important. And then obviously I get up early and I go to sleep late. I can only mess so much with so many cigars and so much alcohol. So
true. Bryce says great recommendation. That's funny.
Yes, sir.
Do you ever kick it back with the gin and the whiskey with any friends who talk about NFT stuff, crypto stuff?
Yeah, we got a great group of guys. We're actually going out in a couple weeks. I organized it. It's about myself and like 20 of my buddies, fathers. And they're kind of curious on some of the stuff that I do podcast related. So they're always asking my opinions. So I'm usually throwing stuff in front of them that they can digest outside of just mine. And I'll say, hey, by the way, subscribe to my podcast. Hit or smash the like button. I always think it's just tap it. But that to me is really, that's important, that I'm teaching my age group about that. But I also want to connect with the younger generation as well. And I want them to engage with me because I love that. It makes me happy. So
how much do you think the podcasting, I guess, conversational skills has helped in other areas of life? Has it helped real estate, or did you already have all those skills, you think?
I think I had that just from the 8 years of real estate. So when I first became a realtor, the challenge was I was dealing with generational agents. So Maggie down the block, she's been a realtor. She's done the grandparents, the children, the children's children. So she's been a generational agent. And for me, I had this thing called Coffee with CraigO, and it was all about interviewing local businesses and entrepreneurs in the area. And that's where I kind of like learned to be comfortable in front of the camera. And then at the beginning of this year, when I launched the podcast, you guys, go check out, my Twitter page. You'll see I just do a lot of the short videos on there. I try to separate the worlds of, we have our Facebook and our Instagram pages for CraigOCrypto Corner, but I try to like balance it So that way I don't put too much, because I don't want people to, oh, you're stuck in the metaverse, you can't help me with my home. Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Because I take my metaphorical VR goggles off and I'm ready to do what we need to do, and we get it done, and we do a good job at it too.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting work to me. Like the Tykes NFT project. I'm interested to see how Ryan Pineda is the guy who's heading that. He's another YouTuber. He's a big real estate dude. But I'm very interested to see how a big industry on its own utilizes Web3, and if it's successful. Yeah. I assume it will be, because I just don't see these massive companies coming in. Like, why would they bother coming into this space and risking their whole credibility and reputation to jump into Web3 in a bear market if there wasn't some big play that they've got, you know?
I could not agree with you more. I think real estate attorneys, they have to step into modern day way of doing business. They just literally have pages of shit that you sign when you're buying your home. So that part has to become more simplified. I feel like real estate on the end that doesn't need, so there's certain states that need an attorney and don't. They're called transactional agents. Yeah. Or actually, I apologize. It's the company, the title company in other states. So New York is a title state company. So a title company takes care of the closing. They don't have a real estate agent. In Connecticut, it's direct real estate agent. So every state operates differently. So along with Web3, I think you're going to find that certain states are going to introduce NFTs that are directly correlated to the listings. And I think it's going to come way of the brokerages. And at first, it's going to be something like not a POAP, but like something that is NFT related, that even if your NFT got stolen, you still own your home, but it's going to have all the light deed information without your social security and stuff. So I think it's going to start off light as a test. And then you can then in that smart contract program, because that's what NFTs are, they're going to put an open end part to it. So that way part 2 will be as this space develops. So that's what I mean by thinking long term. And that's really where I'm focused, is on the traditional business end of products and services, integrating directly with NFT communities. And that's why when you ask me, what am I so excited about, Elrond, it's so early. And I love Ethereum too, by the way. No bash. I just feel like Elrond has a lot of growth. Could you start bringing Ethereum heads over and they start investing a lot of Ethereum and Solana people into the Elrond ecosystem? That cross chain is going to be really sexy. And in a bear market, there's a lot of potential money for people to make. But then there's also a lot of long-term hold where value in the community founders are going to be built. Yeah, no, 100%. It's gonna be a long road, I think, for people. We got spoiled in the bull market because things move. I mean, I guess things still move really fast. But in reality, it's just going to be a very long process. Lots of good moments and bad moments. Have you ever? I don't know if you have any that you want to share, but do you have any super low moments? Were they included in real estate and business stuff, or? Yeah. Oh, a super low moment? Yeah. So I mean, I look at this year in real estate. And so I've closed a number of listings this year. The challenge that we're having right now with buyers is low inventory. And the mortgage rate has gone on from like 4.25 in the past couple months, all the way to 6.25. So the amount of money is hundreds of dollars a month difference for a buyer, and it depends on the particular price point. But when you're making an offer, you're one of 15 right now, still one of 15 offers if you're representing your buyer. So actually you call the seller agent. So I don't want to say it's lows, but you're building this loyalty. You're building your client brand. Your clients know how good you are, but they also understand the market they're contending with. So that's about the low of my story. And so I've been very smart this year, moving financially, not getting myself in over my head. But also being smart and strategizing, because I think 2023 in certain markets are going to be opportunity for sellers who are afraid to miss out and want to go to renting and want to capitalize on the money that they have, the equity they have in their home. So I think there are going to be a lot of those conversations. But then I also think there are buyers that are going to still be passionate about owning and don't want to pay the premiums to rent. So there's something for everybody as it merges in together. And I'm very curious to see how that story plays out. Yeah. I think curiosity is probably a good way to describe how I feel as well. I'm very interested to see just where we're at in 5 years. I've gotten so wrapped up in the idea of innovation. I've always wanted to work in innovation. I've always wanted to be surrounded by people who are in their own way innovating their self. Like I remember when I was in college, all I wanted to do was be roommates with all the nursing majors and all the doctors and people like that, because I just liked that they worked hard. I didn't really care what it was. But now we're in this new world of innovation, Web3, and I'm like, I'm in it. I'm like participating and I'm contributing. I'm like, this is
this is cool as fuck. I've never been part of something. That's kind of why I'm interested in the new blockchains, because I'm like
Yeah.
Solana, Elrond, Cardano, they're all relatively new compared to like
Right.
Ethereum. So like this is actually really fun. I can like dive even deeper into this and really contribute. And I think at some point when this does become bigger, I will like really, really feel like I'm part of this. And I'm just excited to see where that's at.
And we are, by the way, we are part of it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Also, for the lowest point, I want to go even deeper now. Away from, well, I guess you could still tie to business if there was like a massive L you took, but is there any massive, massive L's you took where you were like, bro, I am down deep right now. This is not good.
It's right now. I mean, it is, right? So I have a couple of things. If I sold my, yeah, we are in Web3, we are. If I sold my portfolio right now, the loss would be fucking catastrophic. You know, first F of the podcast. But I'm holding, and not only am I holding, I'm reinvesting in what I now believe in with the education I've learned. Because I believe that a lot of the things that I have are not only going to make their way back, but they're going to be good. I also believe in the level of diversification. So it's a story I won't tell because I'm not going to sell in that regard. If I sell, it's because there are moon bags.
Got you. I see what you're saying. How about in the past? Is there anything like where you, maybe not a financial L, but like a life L, where you thought something was going to work out, it didn't pan out, you put all your eggs into one basket and it crashed?
So when I first became a realtor, there was a team that I had joined for a small period of time. And I put more eggs in the basket of that team leader, thinking that he was going to lead me to the real estate promised land, and I was going to be very successful, and we were going to be on stage together, and I was going to be his protege. No. So I think that's sort of where, you know, what is it, like low, you know, have low expectations and have high standards. So I don't have high expectations for people. I have them for myself. So if I continue to consistently deliver, then those followers and those engagement will be there, and the trolls will be less, but the trolls will still be the trolls. And I'm okay with that. You know, it is what it is. It's how you respond in class. And then also when I see something that's wrong, I just watch, just peep from the side. Okay, got you.
I'm kind of the same with comments, especially. I think it's hilarious. I find it very irritating when I jump to the comment section to see what people are getting up to in there. I'm like, man.
Like one a couple years ago, and it was in real estate, and someone said, get a real job. And then they said, with your receding hairline. And I was like, at home, I'm like, oh shit, I'm like, honey, I gotta make this fixed. At the end of the day, it's okay. Because I think if we think about it, when we're mean towards others, we're not happy with ourselves. And I'll be first to say it, and I think it's quiet meanness. You judge someone else. Versus just step back and be like, look in the fucking mirror and be like, second F of the day. What can I do? What can I do to be a better me? So that way it makes you want to be a better you. You know?
Yeah. But has that been your mentality your whole life, you think? Like an attacking mentality, go conquer, go learn, go, you know, build stuff, things like that?
No. I think once you have kids, it changes, because I think I was very blind very early on, and I was very unempathetic to other people's struggles or challenges in life, whether, you know, whether it's group or their own demons. But to actually mature and get older is such a blessing and a gift, because you become wiser and you can act upon that wisdom, or you can turn your back from it. And I choose to act on it and make the world a better place, and make my kids through discipline. By the way, shout out to Total Chat again. He said it's discipline. Got to have a level of discipline.
Yeah.
But one where your kids don't fear you, but they love you, but they respect when you say no, it's no.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Astro Mosi said something really interesting about self-discipline. He was like, self-discipline took, I think he said something like, it took me over 5, maybe 10 years, he said, to like really, really understand self-discipline and actually apply it. He goes, it's way harder than people think. And I agree, because like intentionality works. Every time you set like an intentional goal, you're probably going to crush it. It's just really hard to do that. And like, for example, to make a to-do list the night before for the next day, it literally works every time I've tried it. Yet I only do it every month, like one time. And I don't get why I do it. It's just really hard to like set that level of intention. I think it's because you like have to put in the extra effort, but
yeah, totally.
I see Total Chat in here. He's putting in work in the chat. What's he saying? Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. Wait, hold on. What's he saying here? He's saying, I worked on the card store from 98 to 2007. I had my hands on cases of first edition Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and 04 LeBron James NBA. I invested in college instead of gold in front of my face. Oh, wow. Oh my God, that hurts.
Hindsight 2020, you know, and it's true. And you know what though? These are the lessons that obviously I'm going to assume Total Chat is probably now wiser than man. And he's going to make some good decisions. And that's why it's like, you know, what's your biggest failure? It ain't going to happen now. I feel for him too, Bryce. It ain't going to happen now because I understand that to sell is to give up and walk away. And anybody that's sold now that wants to come talk to me about FOMO and the bull, I'm going to get out of here. Done. Like now's the time to read. Now's the time to watch video. Now's the time to tune into other podcasters because you've given me some good ideas. And so that's the inter-exchange of ideas and building this this ecosystem of Web3 because it is the next level of the internet and it's how the internet will operate. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Told Chaz what's he saying? He said, I sold my Tom Brady RC after his 3rd Super Bowl. Nice. Probably made some good money on that. Hell yeah. I was never into that stuff. I was never really into making money. Like I'm trying to remember what I was doing. I guess I was lifting. I was playing soccer for a long time. That was my big thing. And then once I did everything I could there, I just jumped into bodybuilding, did everything I could there. And then I moved on and I don't even know what came after that. I guess traveling and then YouTube and things like that. But what was that progression for you?
I was just say that part again. I was just the progression of I missed.
I was just saying like the progression of like what got me to here. It was just like conquering a goal, finishing it, saying, okay, what's next? And then YouTube finally came out. I was like, oh, this is like the real goal was YouTube. And so I kind of made it work. But
I think it was March of 2021 where I was like, I sat down and I'm like, I literally for the first day, I was like, I'm not going to figure this out. I'm not going to figure it out. It's not going to happen. Not smart enough. And then I started asking questions and that challenge that I said was the wall. And through that wall and the walls are still here. The walls are not they're separated much further now. Whereas when it was first, you just look up and you're like, oh my gosh, not going to happen.
Yeah.
And now those walls are like miles apart, metaphorically speaking, where, I understand what staking is. I understand, what to look for in projects. And I think right now, there's 2 analysis, right? You got technical and then you've got the marketing analysis and they're 2 different things. And so on the technical end, I'm going to turn to people that know how to read charts and understand about candles. And then I'm actually weekly now, I'm actually getting taught by actually Matrix Swayze from the Pyramid Group. We just do a call, half an hour every week. He talks to me about what he knows. And then at a certain point, I will graduate from that conversation. But I'm always going to make sure to give him shout out to let him know thank you for getting me started to want to go down the technical analysis route. I'm very much focused on the marketing side. So I like to see the inner exchange of conversations. Those are just my thoughts. And by the way, I think we got I think that's actually Duncan. Let's go, Craigo, incredible guest to have on the podcast. Class act, Sponge, regards to learning. Love that guy. I love you too, my friend. I love you too. So, but that's that right there. That's the fuel. By the way, you and Duncan need to connect. That guy is a freaking monster in the space. He's one of the top holders, respectfully speaking. And he's the Super Rare Bear project. So shout out to them and all that they're doing.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So you had mentioned before that you were kind of like, well, I guess I don't really know exactly, but you were doing whatever before you had like the kids and all this extra responsibility and self-discipline that you built. Before that, were you going hard at were you like a party animal or like what kind of?
No. I mean, I had a moving company for 14 years. And I think that's where a lot of the learning came from and understanding that, when you're an employer, you have accountability and then you have, you have to make sure that you have accountability and you also have to be consistent. And I don't think I was consistent enough in that I had it for like 11 years. 14 years. So there's a lot to be learned there. And I'm grateful it started around 2001. But for all those experiences that I got to learn through, I'm not the employer type. I'm just, that's never going to be me. I started in something and there was a lot of pros to it, but I think for me, I had to learn and grow and evolve. And then, in 2014, I became a realtor. And so my day starts and stops with me. So if I fall short, that's on me. It's not on anyone else. No one else gets the brunt of that. And I think that was a learning lesson that came over time.
So let's put our business hats on here and talk about how and what you could potentially see as how a PFP stock collection is going to make it Like, how is that possible? Like, if we have a business idea here, which is hard to do, by the way, like every YouTube video I see is like, all you guys just start a business. I'm like, motherfucker, like, what do you mean just start a business? Like, that's hard to do. You have to fill a problem that's not being filled, which is hard to do because otherwise it would have already been filled. So where do you see these NFT projects that are PFPs, collectibles? How are they going to survive?
So I think it's the consistency of the founders. It's that they're focused right with devs, the right devs from day one. Day one. That those devs are not just paid and incentivized, but they're passionate. And they're almost as passionate as the founders. The smart contract. So there are programs out there that can read smart contracts and see if there's flaws. So the tech guys behind that, that's something that we want to be focused on, to understand, all right, tell us about your smart contract. What's the program? How did you do it? What were your challenges? So diving in on that. What else? I think it's the conversation on Twitter and Discord, seeing that they're mature, not shutting down, not asking if someone has a critical opinion or saying something sucks, not going, oh, you're fudding. Get that FUD at it. FUD is a word that is overused, just like FOMO. If someone has a question, or even if someone comes in disrespectfully, handle them as a class act. And there are communities that do it now. But if you're not doing that, that's a problem, because you're telling me that you're afraid of your money being lost and you don't give a shit about the community growing long term. And that's something that sit on the sidelines and watch. So those are probably 5 just different things, like off the top of my head. So I think what happens is when that company is, that company, because it's a company, it's a business. Drew Austin talked about that. He goes, consumers will consume, developers will continue to develop, but these are businesses in Web3. And so when I look at NFT communities that aren't projects, that aren't just PFPs, but they're businesses, and they're talking about the tech, they're talking about things that they're actually doing, showing the good that they're doing in the world. And that's one of the things, like with On-Chain Monkey, they're doing good in the world and they're doing well for their holders. And there's a difference between the two. But holders want to do well and they want to do good in the world. That to me is like the perfect saying right there. So that's what I'm looking for. And then what I think happens is you find out that a lot of these companies that are traditional business, a lot of people are, even successful people, they're lazy. It's okay. Let me go to Web3. Oh, this is a good community. I like this. Let me talk to the founder. Let me talk to people in the project. Okay, cool. I'm there. Now they're going in, and guess what? That floor just jumped. Ginormous. And it's not even just the celebrities, the solidified businesses. They come in, and now that PFP holder who has X number of tokens has access to products and services with that company. Now the secondary sales are supported. Now you have membership and access. So that PFP becomes so much more valuable because now it has even a greater use case, and the word utility now really comes to life. That's my thought.
Yeah, when you said NFTs are a business, I agree. I feel like we've been kind of all yelling at that for a while. The issue is with these NFT projects is most of them aren't. They need to be a business. They're just not a business. They're just a PFP collection they're not really doing anything yet, right? But I think this is a TikTok, or not TikTok. I said this in a podcast. I made it into a TikTok, and I basically said that I think Gary Vee was a bit too early on the whole NFT train, because I do believe that it's going to take a while to make this whole thing work. And so maybe that's why he got in early, because it's going to take a while to build out. However, I still thought that the infrastructure that NFTs are built on, which is crypto and Web3 and blockchain, hasn't had enough of its own adoption yet for people to take NFTs seriously, which we kind of saw when the bubble burst, as we all thought would happen, and people left and realized, oh, so there really isn't a point. We're seeing all the NFT projects, a lot of them, floors dropping because people are realizing nothing's happening. So the thing that I always go back to, that I've been talking about since the fall, was that the brand and the IP of the project is by far the most important thing, which is why I like Pudgy Penguins, because Luca Netz is the CEO now of that project. I think he's a really smart dude. And he talks about that as well. He goes, it's important that Pudgy Penguins are like the project. So when a company comes in and wants to partner with the community in Web3, it'll be a no question to be Pudgy Penguins. But because in the Web3 world in the future, I think there will be a place for companies just to be the brand. Like Gymshark is just a normal brand. Their clothes is pretty good, just as good as any other fucking company out there, but they're Gymshark, right? But they don't do anything crazy. They just are a clothing company. So that's where I think NFT projects, Pudgy Penguins they won't be anything. They'll just be Pudgy Penguins. Yeah. Well, so that's where.
look at Doodles. I mean, they've got Pharrell Williams. The project just raised about $54 million. Now, mind you, this is on the Ethereum. So this is why I get so excited about Elron. And by the way, you just got a new subscriber from Real Pro eGold. I'd love you guys to connect. So go connect on Twitter. You guys will have a great conversation. Potentially, you'll do a podcast with him. But he's one of the he's the head of marketing for Super Rare Bears. And he's definitely very knowledgeable on the Elron blockchain. Somebody who I respect there. And just in life, we'll sometimes just text like, "Hey, what's up, bro? What's the latest?" It's been a while since we'll connect, but we'll connect soon enough. But that to me is like, that's the building of that ecosystem. That we speak of. So,
you said, what was the project called?
It's called Super Rare Bear.
Okay.
Super Rare Bears.
Super Rare Bears. I'm keeping a list because I'm going to start at the top projects that I think are interesting to me. I'll figure out stuff there, and then I'll kind of dive into Elron, because I heard Elron's more about it is some about community. I think Solana is the blockchain that people always say is all about community, and I heard Elron's more about people who are building and like trying to create things.
It's different, it's different things to different people, because I probably could say you'll hear that in reverse, or it's really about where can you connect with your audience. And I think, like, for instance, we're doing a Twitter Spaces, and I'd love for you to hop in. I'll even grab you up onto stage. And I'm very fortunate enough that Nick Newell, who is an MMA fighter, was world champion, fought in Bellator. He's a dad amongst the dads group that we have, and just a great man, super humble. He was interviewed by Ariel Helwani a number of times. He fought in front of Dana White. He's coming in onto our Twitter Spaces tomorrow evening with Peace Rabbit NFT collection with Tony and Sergio, who are the founder and co-founder of that Ethereum project that just launched about a month ago. And Tony is super knowledgeable. We're talking about token gating. We're talking about subdomains. And so we're just, again, all of these relationships that are so early, people are impatient. People are like, how much money? How much money? Let me check my pocket. It's like, if that's where you are, you might win a lotto. You might. But I'm not looking to roll out in silk pajamas and become like, and retire. This is long-term because I enjoy it. I love it. I love to learn the process. But tomorrow night, we're doing a Twitter Spaces at 9 p.m. I'm the co-host.
Eastern?
And, yes. And Peace Rabbit NFT collection. So that's going to be really cool. There should be a lot of people. I mean, Nick's, respectfully speaking, has a good following. But again, I've been talking to him about Web3 for a while. He's done a couple little things, but I think when you get people that are just want to learn, and fortunate enough, he's going to come on and share his story. There was a movie made about him, and all the things that he dealt with. He actually is, I think it's his right hand. He's missing part of his right hand, and his fighting record is 17-4. He's a black belt BJJ fighter. He's got a gym in Milford. So he is a badass dude, and a sweet human being. A great father, a great husband, good role model, and somebody who I respect and admire in the real world. And it's just so cool that I get to connect with him. And I reached out and I'm like, hey, you want to do this Twitter Spaces with me? I'd love to.
That's the cool thing, dude.
Come on and just chat.
That's the cool thing. And like, imagine like some of the ways I look at when I'm connecting with certain people that I think are cool in the Web3 space. I think about like how many people probably brushed off Jeff Bezos the first 10 years he was building Amazon. And I'm like, man, I bet Jeff was like, yo, can you help me with this one thing? And they were like, nah, I don't have time for that. And then like he becomes Jeff Bezos 20 years later. I'm like, oh my God, that would be crazy to see who's going to be on top in 10, 20 years, or like where people went. Like maybe you start off a podcaster and we fast forward 10 years and you've got Craig's fucking, I don't even know, some random other thing that you like never thought you'd be, and you're like, I haven't done a podcast in 3 months. Like I actually do this other thing now. It's like totally different. So I'm really excited to see where people end up. I
am too. And I'm telling you, those glasses are going to take you far. I love those freaking glasses. Put those back on. Yes, rock those out for like at least the last 10 minutes as we're chatting. I mean, I'm loving the vibes. So this is awesome. Yes.
Hold on. Let me get this shit. Oh, fuck.
Hey, by the way, someone said they love your hair, bro. I love the hair.
I appreciate you. I love my hair too. I need to get a haircut, but no, not short. I'm gonna chop it to like here maybe. And I was thinking about getting a little bit more color in. Thought about going silver, but I think I'm probably gonna stick with gold. I heard silver is a lot of maintaining, and you got to keep going in every 3 months to get it colored.
So Bryce just brought up the metaverse for realtors. So that was actually one of the things that last year got me really excited into Web3 was I bought a bunch of just land out there, Metroverse. I think we got something in Sandbox. We got BYOB again. Was it BYO Pill? But we got the land, BYO land on the Ethereum blockchain. Cool. Don't know where it's going to go long term. Can't say that I'm really focused because you have properties that are like we had Harish Latlakar from shout out Rish Latlakar from he's the CEO of Superworld, and it's they have 68.4 billion unique plots of land, everything 10 by 10, so you can buy in the real world, and that has an interesting use or application maybe 10 years out from now, but we'll see. We'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, dude, the metaverse world will be very. That actually might be one of my first ever conversations about NFTs. And I think about it, I'm pretty sure it was with Easton, and we were talking about real estate in the metaverse. And that was so long ago that I think about it. Like I really need to watch that back and see what kind of shit we talked about there. But I remember we were looking. I think where I was at, there was I don't know what state I was in, but I was doing a podcast and I was at a Starbucks using their Wi-Fi because I was traveling still. So I was like doing a podcast on a fucking outdoor patio, and I'm pretty sure where I was at, there was a bunch of casinos everywhere. And I think that's what we were talking about, like the world of casinos and the NFT world and running around and just like what that'll be. Like, will it be like Ready Player One? Will we ever get to that level? I really fucking hope so because I'm down, dude. I'm in. I'm in.
I think the glasses are going to be very sleek when they're really developed, and it'll have the delineation between your data that'll come right around your Oculus and then everything else, and you'll be able to clear it in and out. Because the thing is like you always see people like this. Like I'll come downstairs in the morning, always like, and I'm like this, and you got kids, so I gotta put the phone away for a certain point because you'll be like, wow, I was worried about becoming a drug addict or an alcoholic. Don't worry. Our smartphone has us covered. So you have to really balance it because you want to engage with people, new conversations. It's exciting. Even for my wife who will be in mom's groups trying to figure out the schedule for the day as I'm running around, so it's a lot. It's a lot.
True. Did you also, this is on a point of like the metaverse real quick. Did you ever play any video games?
Yeah.
You a big video game guy?
I had the first Nintendo system in 1985. One of the first that came out with the robot. Yeah, never mind, man. Don't worry about it.
I had a Nintendo 64 at one point. I played a lot of Mario Kart. A lot of Mario Kart.
That old? By the way, was that Nintendo 64? Was that old by the time you were playing it?
It wasn't old, but it was older than like the Wii. Like I had a Wii, an Xbox, stuff like that. Xbox 360. I only played FIFA though.
Yeah. I think that also brings to the thing is like it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Right. So like the VB app, there's a nostalgia to some of the things there. I think there was a product launch. I think Nintendo could actually revive themselves. And I think I heard a little bit of a story of them last year. And then I got the Atari token. I made money from that. Nice. You asked me my losses. You didn't ask me some of my gains. And I'm careful. I don't brag too heavy. And again, my gains are, I know people that totally demolish, but I will share my biggest gain with you, which I think was really cool. I like it. I had the original Nintendo with Mario 3. Yep. That's awesome. I love that.
Top Gun.
Crypto Dream. So I bought a Superman for $107, which is 107 gems on their platform. And I followed it up again by luck, timed the market perfectly. I sold it for $7,800.
Whoa! Wow! Very, very impressive. Holy shit!
Yeah. So that was a cool one, right? Again, little baby wins, but it's not even if my wins got really uncomfortably big. I'm not talking about them. But I think like last year, anybody who was in crypto, you literally took spaghetti. You throw it at the wall and be like, oh, I made some money. It was really easy. And I think this year and moving forward, the bull market will be something very different. It'll be something very different. And that's why I'm focused on the content and I'm focused on communities building respect. And again, that's why, Super Rare Bear hopping in today, Duncan is a big player in the space. He's strategic. He's got a mature community. They were actually one of the communities that actually gifted me a Super Rare Bear, and I thought it was him. And it was somebody in the community saying, "I like your content," and threw an NFT into my wallet just as a thank you. And I'm like, "Is this a scam?" And he checked and verified. He's like, "No, this is real." I'm like what? Wow. So I love the love, but I also want to give the love out, and I think that's really important. Is that you want to receive and you want to give enough out that you're not going broke, but you're also helping others with mass adoption, you know, taking away the barriers of entries. There's tons of videos on how to set up a MetaMask account. If you just watch them over and over and over, you get it. And if someone calls me or we're talking about something in real time, we'll say, okay, this is what you need to do. These are the rules that you need to follow.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There was something I was going to say, add to that on the Nintendo thing, because I just looked back at that comment too. I totally forgot what I was going to say. But anyways, as we come to a close on this thing, I wanted to do like a quick little speed round of fire off questions. We doing it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Actually, this will be not a quick one, but I just want to know about this. This will be interesting to me. This is an interesting segment that someone brought up. It's basically called Fuck, Marry, Kill, but it's going to be for NFTs. So FUD, Flip, or HODL for these NFT projects. So I was thinking, so we'll just pretend all three of these projects are the same price. They're all on this, we'll just say like the same blockchain, whatever, or like same position, right? So we got Doodles. We got ePunks.
HODL.
But they're the same price. Same everything. It's just about like vibe or like what you like. So we got Doodles, ePunks, and let's see. DeGods. I don't know how well.
Oh yeah, I have a cool youth story. I won't share it. So DeGods, for me personally, Flip. No disrespect, love you, community. Just my opinion.
DeGods, Flip. Okay. Doodles, HODL.
Hold, HODL. Yeah.
Hold. Okay, so then you're gonna have to, what is it? FUD, ePunks. Damn.
No, I don't want to FUD ePunks.
Yes, what you said, bro. You said you got a HODL one, Flip one, and FUD one.
All right, cool.
Damn. R.I.P.
Yeah, sorry, ePunks. You know I love you. Don't listen to him.
No, someone always comes out and loses that game. The FUD, Marry, Kill, or sorry, FUD, Flip, or HODL game is tough because there's no like, oh, just like don't do anything. No, you gotta FUD it. You gotta FUD it. All right. Favorite TV show?
Breaking Bad.
Interesting. Okay. Do you have any conspiracies that you've gone down the rabbit hole of that you are convinced is reality and is very, very true and we don't think it is?
I'm going to pass on that one, brother.
Oh, it's the moon. He doesn't think the moon's real. All right. Dreams. Do you have any reoccurring dreams?
No, I think I more have dreams based on like emotion of the day. And if I wake up without being interrupted, I will then try to follow that emotional pattern throughout the day as a learning lesson from the day prior.
True. Right on. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. When I first started working at the restaurant and I got those, I don't know if anyone in the chat here has ever been a waiter or a bartender or anything like that. I'm sure you know when it's busy as fuck and you're in the weeds, you be having nightmares those nights.
Yep.
They are the worst. Okay. Favorite kind of alcohol or favorite kind of beer if you have one?
I like Allagash beers. So I think it's kind of just, common light beer. I like light beer and I like Oktoberfest.
Okay. Right on. You're about to enter a fun little time. Holiday season's about to come out. That's probably the best for families, dude.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It is. Yeah. It is. It's fun.
I'll be chilling here by myself in the studio apartment. More than happy to continue putting in the work. I have a lot of time to build a family and to build a whole thing. Okay, tattoos. Do you got any? Do you want any?
I don't. Would I like a tattoo one day? Yeah. I don't know what it would be of, and I just would be afraid. Yeah, doodle, right? My favorite PFP.
That'd be tough, dude. That'd be interesting. Like I thought about doing like
if an NFT did a Bored Ape type thing. And it made a lot of people money. A lot of thoughts I have there on that particular project and ecosystem, but respect, you won. But I think I can understand people getting tattoos of their Bored Ape because a life changer it was for a lot of people last year. And for those that held on, hey, great,
I'm thinking about getting a Dogecoin, like a Dogecoin little tattoo on my butt or something. I think it'd be kind of funny because they really did launch me into the NFT world and the crypto world because of the bag I made. I just like. Just so much money just on an accident,
I love it. So, you know what? Hey, I think having a dog on your ass, I think it'd be great for you, my man. It's a good business move. You can pull it off. They'd be like, what did Craig do? That's not a Craigo move, but that would be a cool Cade move. You see?
It'd be funny. I mean, it's like not a lot of people are going to see my ass. All right. Very few people I would say on earth will see my ass. So I think it's a safe bet. I'll be like, look, I'm letting you in. This is a really big step for me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
show you my ass.
That's a
And you're gonna
vulnerable.
see.
That's a vulnerable moment, Kate. That's a vulnerable moment, bro.
Oh my god, what's his name? The guy who just popped in here. What was his name? Real Pro. Elron from that project. He's like, man, who the
Yes.
fuck is this guy? All right, let's see. I got a couple more here. Do you have a favorite food chain?
Food chain?
Restaurant?
I used to say it was Chipotle, but that to me is like not good food. And as you get older, your body doesn't process
Oh, really?
food. Doesn't work for me anymore. I would say I like a local, unique boutique restaurants that are just like focused on customer service and good food. Show the ass.
Let's fucking go. I think we'll get along.
So you're gonna like him. He's a good dude.
I love it. That's fucking awesome. Okay, then do you remember the first? You may have said this. I can't remember. Do you remember the first NFT that you bought?
I do. It was an elephant on Nifty Gateway. I didn't understand how things work. Yeah, it was an elephant. I'm trying to remember the name. The artist is really cool. Yeah, I don't remember the name. But I have it in my wallet. I still have it in my wallet.
Is this a happy memory that we have of this NFT, or is just like maybe like
No, it's not a bad. I mean, I spent probably $150 on it, and the elephant goes, whoa, whoa. So if anybody has it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
True. That's awesome. Yeah, my first NFT I think was I think it was Evaverse. So that was a play off Alex Becker. I'm pretty sure he like hinted about it, and then I did some research on it, bought it, and I think I bought it really, really cheap. I waited for like the attention to fade a little bit. And after I did research, I was like, wait a second, this project's fucking dope, actually. Like, I see why he liked it. And people completely forgot about it, completely faded it. And I was yelling, dude. I've been yelling since August. I was like, guys, I'm telling you, versus a play. It's a play. It's a play. Everyone made fun of me. And then they partnered with Dogepound. They went to the moon. And I was like, I fucking called it.
I love it.
But yeah, all those NFTs bring so much nostalgia for me. I don't know if you have the same feeling towards the bull market. I know the bull market has its place and the bear market has its place, but I can't help but like remember the summer of last year and being like, man, what a time to be alive.
Yeah. I like this market better because it has a chance now. Things are more authentic and to connect with people. I mean, last year your time was a lot tighter. Now, mind you, I didn't have a podcast at that time, but you now get to look around and be like, and focus on quality of content versus, you know, like I said, in a day, it feels like a day is a year in this space. I felt like last year, an hour, a minute was 10 years. Like it was just so much faster because everybody were focused on making money. But we're also, that's great. I want to make money, but I also want to be focused on understanding the craft because the last thing you ever want to do is be like, oh, CraigO doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. And that is a fear that I had when I first started the podcast, which motivated me to learn every single day. And I would tell my viewers, there's a lot that I don't know, but I promise you there's a lot that I do. And I'm humble about it. And I want to continue to grow so I can, you know, I say conceptualize, right? So you learn, conceptualize, and then implement by being able to articulate yourself in a manner that people can then go, I get it.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great fucking place to end too. And I think we covered a lot of shit. I had a great time talking to you. I feel like we talked about a lot of shit. We just fit a lot of stuff in an hour and a half. Yeah,
I like the fire round. I got to keep myself safe. I put on the vest on one of them, but I can totally appreciate it. And it's an honor to continue to grow with you in Web3, support your podcast. And thanks so much for having me on today. It was great.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And guys, if you made it to the very end, code word is going to be Craig in all caps. I'd love to see that spam in the chat. I appreciate you. Some of you guys have been here since the very, very beginning. So, you know, wherever you came in the stream, appreciate you coming in for this live. Make sure you click that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. I have his stuff down below in the description if you want to check it out and click on his links. I have his link tree down below so you can check out all this stuff. And that's pretty much it. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Discord, like all the different things. And until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful you're alive watching this video. Bye.